Hello and welcome to my brief review of the Cuisinart grill. I've just had this for over a day now. It was there to replace my George Foreman grill, which had a couple of issues with, like everyone else has. The non-stick was starting to wear a little bit on it, and also I don't know if you can see that these little black marks here, they were just impossible to get off. I even tilted the machine sideways and left bleach on there, but just couldn't get them off anymore, so I thought this thing needed to be replaced. A few problems with it: obviously it discolors over time. Most George Foreman grills, the build quality is the biggest complaint that you get. And the other problem I had specifically with this grill, just before we go on to the Cuisinart, just so you know what I was comparing it to, the other big problem I had is this is very, very heavy. So say I put a fish in there and I put this down on it, the weight from the top meant that the top side would always cook a lot quicker, so by the time the bottom side did cook, the top side would have burnt. So I went ahead, I looked around for a while and I ordered this. It's the Cuisinart grill, and it's Griddle panini maker as well. Yeah, so this is the device that you get. Comes with these plates here. You can use this side for things like pancakes, and this side is obviously the grill. This just slides in there and sits in. I was a bit worried about how loose it is in here, and this side of the clip didn't also clip in too well, but nothing to worry about as it stayed in place. Go ahead and put the other grill in place. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty easy to do. I've managed to do it with one hand. So, what do I think of this product? Well, I've been using it for just over a day now. I've cooked a couple of meals on it, and to be honest with you, it is going back. The main reason, as I said, I bought it was to replace this. Now, there are some major problems with this device. First of all, this isn't a problem. I knew this issue before, but I never realized just how much I would miss having a timer on it. You know, I used to like on the George Foreman grill, you know, put a fish, a burger, or whatever, put it in there to cook. I can go take a shower, and I don't need to worry about being out exactly on time or it will burn. With this, I've managed to burn a couple of things because I've forgotten that it doesn't have a timer. So that was the first thing. But the main reason, as I said, I got this was to replace the grill. I bought a George Foreman grill because I liked the way that it was slanted. The fat would drip down and drip into the tray, not a problem. As you can see, this device doesn't actually have a tray that you can see. There is actually a tray on the side of the device. It's tucked in under here. Now, I have cooked, let me just grab it. This is just some organic lamb steaks. I cook those often in the George Foreman grill and I get a lot of fat come out of it. I've cooked them in this, and that's literally all the fat that it collected from it. I'm convinced that had I have not placed the device on a couple of hinges at the front, the fat would not have dripped to the back and into the tray. That's the spout there. Let me just open this up, might be a bit easier for you to see. So when you cook, the only place for the fat to get out is this little space here. So if the fat is here, it'll just sit around here. It'll probably sit around just under the meat itself as well. The only reason it actually went down here is because I put a couple of little books underneath to tilt it up so it wouldn't be burning in its own fat. And obviously the problem you have, I'll insert a picture here so you can see the problem that you have is when the meat sits in its own fat, the fat has nowhere to go. The heat burns the fat, the fat then burns into the actual meat itself, and it's not very nice, it's not very appetizing, both in terms of looks and taste, which is a major issue. Just to prove my point, I'm going to do a little test just to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, well, let's imagine this is fat. So on this, as you can see, it just sits. As you can see, barely any of the water, actually none of the water has actually gone down there. So it's just sitting there. That's where your food would be, that would be the fat, and it's just sitting there, it's not going anywhere. Now obviously, with the George Foreman grill, your fat goes straight down and into the fat tray. Over here, nothing. Nothing's gone into the fat tray, it's just sitting there. Which is where the major problem lies. If you're buying this to replace a George Foreman grill, if you're looking for a healthy alternative, this isn't it. I mean, sure, it's got little features, you know, you can lay it flat and you can cook, and you can turn this around and cook hamburgers on one side and pancakes on the other, or whatever it is you want to do. But as you can see from my little example, the fat has nowhere to go. So if you're buying this as a grill, then, and you don't care about the fat content of your food, which I assume most people will do, otherwise they wouldn't be probably buying a grill with a fat tray. But you know, if you don't care, then it's a fine grill. It's got a 5-year guarantee. But if you do and care about the fat content of your food, you don't want your food sitting in its own fat, and you don't want to be consuming all that fat. You don't want it to be burnt into your food, and you don't want your food to have, you know, burnt pieces of fat stuck to it. Then I would definitely give this a miss. So as a result of the fat having nowhere to go, as you can see, it just sits there. I've actually just moved the chicken around. The chicken itself was there. As you can see from the side, the chicken has all that fat now burnt into it, so it's not very appealing. As you can see, when you lift the food off, the burnt fat is stuck onto the chicken. At the front, you know, you can select Griddle, or on the right side it says grill panini. On the grill panini temperature, you've got from warm to low, medium, high, and sear. And the griddle, you've got a temperature that you can set from 95 to 230. I would say that those readings are completely off. I had it set to 200, and I put pancake mix on it. It wouldn't even cook it. I had to put it all the way to the top. So if you put it on 180, you try to make pancake mix, it's just going to sit there. And if it can't cook the pancake, how great is it going to be for cooking something like a burger? So this, they should have just literally put on a rock, because that's literally anything below 180, you're not going to be able to cook anything with it unless you want to gently warm it over a very long period of time. Again, you know, George Foreman grills, yes, after a couple of years, I've had this 2 years now, the non-stick starts to wear off and you end up having to bin them. But that was half the price of that, and I would gladly buy one of these every 2 years than have to buy this, which, you know, I'm a health freak. If you're not, and you don't care about the fat content of your food, or you're not that bothered about it, then not a problem. One thing I would say is this tends to be, the positive with the Cuisinart is this tends to be a little bit more juicy on here, but that's probably because it's been sitting in its own fat, and the fat isn't being, you know, it's not going away, so the meat isn't as dry. But then again, it had black marks. I'll put a picture of a chicken example in this video as well. It had black marks on the actual meat itself, which was the fat that had burnt into the meat. So it really is not a very well thought out device. The only thing that I could say that it's really, really great for is as a panini maker. And to be honest with you, if you want a panini maker, you don't need to spend £100 and buy one of these. It's my very short review of the Cuisinart. Major disappointment. I really wanted to like this. I actually rushed home from university to make sure that I can get this item on time, and what a letdown. So it's a real shame. So me personally, I will be sticking with the George Foreman grill for health reasons.